Welcome. Today we're taking a look at the Russian handguard and specifically adding a heat shield to it. So I'm going to take the heat shield out of this Bulgarian here and we're going to transplant it into the Russian after we cut some inserts into it so that it'll actually stay in place. I mentioned in my video where I pointed out the differences between the Russian, the Bulgarian, and the Polish black polymer, aka handguards, that I think that this one came from the Russian commercial market and that's why it doesn't have a heat shield. I think that it was originally intended as a cost-cutting measure for like the Saiga 410s that they have in Russia. But regardless, with that, I want to add a heat shield to it because I'm going to put it on my 545 Saiga. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. Starting with the very first thing we need to do is to cut some slots into the handguard, just like the Bulgarian here. So these slots are really just almost filed into the plastic and just right on top of the metal there. There are these ribs in the front on both sides, as well as towards the midsection of the handguard. And you can see there's a slot right there. And that is where this heat shield is inserted in, and then it's just bent down and clipped into that slot. So we should be able to do that on the Russian here. We'll just need to get it in the right place and at the right depth. And we want to be on the second rib back, not the very front, because the lip that hooks actually has this extra piece that sticks out through that. So when it sits in it, this lip needs to be on the further back section. So on this guy, not the front one, otherwise it would stick out the front of the handguard. I first measured the Bulgarian handguard slot distance from the top to the slot, which was approximately 0.12 inches. Using that measurement, I marked the Russian handguard at the depth in all four of the spots I needed to make a new slot. Using a hacksaw blade, I scored a slot in each of the positions. Be careful not to go too deep or to bite into the other parts of the handguard. It is somewhat difficult to get to just the right angle, but the hacksaw blade works surprisingly well for this. I cleaned it up a bit with a hobby file, trying to ensure the top of the slot was a sharper angle than not. Once all four slots were cut, I tested them by installing the heat shield upside down to confirm sufficient depth. Then, using a screwdriver, I popped each corner into its new slot. After verifying no issues or contact with the barrel, we're done. All in all, a very straightforward job. If you have one of these Russian handguards without a heat shield, then this is extremely doable. Hopefully this was useful to you. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.